So Michelle Cheung has used or went through her entire career solving complex problems. So during her time at Mercedes-Benz, she worked on remote control things to park cars. I don't have a driver's license, but it sounds very complicated. She also worked on a project where they used the streets to project information at night for people that were also, not the drivers, but the people that were also in the car and passersby, to create safer situations while driving at night. Nowadays, Michelle is working at Meta AI, and she will tell us today about how she uses AI to really supercharge her creativity on a day-to-day basis. Let's give it up for Michelle.
Thank you. Let's see, does it work? I am clicking, awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. We made it to Friday, are you excited? Yeah! Oh, okay, I realize I can't scream because that will just destroy all your hearing aids, so I gotta be careful about that. Hi everyone, I am Michelle Cheung, and I'm a product design lead at Meta AI, and specifically, I'm in a team that work on forward-thinking 3 to 5 year down experience. But unfortunately, I'm not going to talk about that today. But I am going to talk about something that I think is actually much more applicable to all of us, something that you can take away and actually try out and have some fun. It always amazed me that out of all the people in the world, that we can actually be in the same room together, because literally any of you could be anywhere else in this world. Like the people next to you, I know you might not know that person. What are the chances that you're sitting next to that person? As an introvert, conferences are amazing. This is a way for me to get to know each other, get to know people. And I'm wondering if I can use this opportunity to get to know you very quickly. So bear with me here. Let's see. Awesome. So I'm going to ask this question, and I'm going to ask you to be brave, because there's one expectation in my mind, but I never know what it will turn out. But do you mind raising your hand if you think you are a creative person? Awesome, that's great. Fundamentally, I believe all of us are creative. When we think about creativity, I think we have a lot of different interpretation when it comes to that word, right? Creativity. Do we think about master of fine arts that's living in a museum? Do we think about a children's drawing? But as we get older, well, no one's old here, everyone's super young. We still have a long way to go. But as we think about creativity, as we learn more about the world, it gets increasingly complex. And when we think about, hey, am I creative? The expectation, the bar just rise so high. So for me, I am really passionate about human and computer collaborations, especially in the creativity domain, because while we have unlocked a lot of creativity up to this point, okay, no worries, thank you. While we have unlocked a lot of creativity up to this point, I think there is still so much yet to be discovered. And before I go into my talk, I do want to give a little cautionary tale. I've been up for like 30 hours because I have really severe jet lag. So bear with me if I am wandering around. You just be like, hey, Michelle, come back here. And that's totally fine with me. So let's talk about AI and creativity. Sweet. In today's talk, we're going to talk about how can we use AI as a creative collaborator. In this talk, I'm going to divide it into 3 sections. First of all, I want to set an expectation on, hey, what do you mean by AI creative collaborator? What about AI assistant? So I will talk about the definitions for that first. And then second, I'll talk about, hey, how can we use AI? How is it applicable for different creators of all levels, whether you're a beginner or you're someone that is more experienced, how can you benefit from using AI into your workflow? And then lastly, I'm going to go into some fun tools and tips that I hope you can try it out as you gain some curiosity from this talk. So first of all, when we think about AI, essentially, I think the media tends to portray it in many different ways. It definitely is controversial, and there's many different interpretations. But at the end of the day, it is a computer system that is set out to solve specific problems for us. As designers, as engineers, coder, product manager, program manager, whatever you role in, you have a part to help manifest this system into different formats. And as we can see here, AI could be turned into a robotic dog. Actually, how about a vacuum that is actually going around someone's house right now doing some house chore? Or it can be in a very passive form, such as a search bar, where it just looks like a static piece of graphic, but in the back, it's actually doing so much work, more than we know. But I do see these systems as more AI assistant. So what does AI assistant mean? So I proposed this question actually to one of the more advanced chatbot that is available right now. It's done by OpenAI, and you can actually try this out in their playground. And I proposed this question to this chatbot, and I asked, hey, so what do you think is the difference between an AI assistant and an AI collaborator? And as you can see, surprisingly, the answer is pretty good. And it maps to some of the research that we have done, and also just my personal passion understanding of the trend that's going. An assistant is set out to help us execute very precise tasks and goals. It's not going to do something else. It's not going to make suggestions for us. It's not going to be considerate, but it's really here to just help us achieve that goal. And then when we talk about AI collaborator, it actually offers ideas, options to us, and it might even offer some skills. And I will go into that with some examples. But first, let's talk about AI assistant. So AI assistant here is asked to execute defined tasks. In this case, how many of you have Alexa? Awesome. You should be proud. I actually don't have one. But yeah, I think it's also like a soft user testing. Like, no one's ever like, I have a, So I wonder why is that? That's something to be explored. We could ask the Amazon user research team. I bet they have some answers. But in this case, we could ask Alexa, hey, can you order some dog food for me? That's a very binary task, right? Okay, done. It's order, nothing else. And that's what they're optimizing for, to quickly get to your goal and get the task done. Another example here is you can actually tell Roomba to vacuum a specific portion of your house. Again, it is very definitive. The vacuum is not going to do anything else, and it's just going to go to that area and execute that action. I think that if it was a collaborator, a robot might actually say, hey, Michelle, your kitchen area is actually way more messy. Can I go take care of that first? Like, that's what I would expect from a collaborator robot. Hint, hint, if anyone works at Amazon or know anyone who works at Amazon. And I'm absolutely not hating on these examples. I think they are actually some of the more forward-thinking and creative case on using AI as an assistant. Okay, so we set a baseline on understanding what an AI assistant means. So let's go into what is an AI collaborator. So this is a trend that I think I see this as a rising trend. These trends do take a long amount of time because of the amount of time it needs to be in development and get it to maturity. But for the creative space, we see an AI collaborator bringing in ideas, skills, and actually options to help us. So how many of you know about image generations? Cool, great. Awesome. So some of these might be relevant. You'll be like, I know this already, Michelle. But bear with us so that we can spread this knowledge about these really amazing technology that's coming up. So how image generation work is that you can actually just provide a prompt to the machine. When we say prompt, it's a description of a text. So let's say, for example, in this case, I want to see what a koala looks like when it's riding a motorcycle. How cool would that be, right? Because I'm never gonna, I mean, it would be animal cruelty if I make a koala ride a motorcycle, if I ever even get that chance. So help me visualize that, AI. And this is the example that AI came up with. And I swear to God, no humans were involved, no koala bear was harmed in the process, no Photoshop, nada. I didn't have to do the work, and I was also too lazy to do the work. But this is actually what AI came up with. And let's dissect that, what we meant by AI bringing in ideas, AI bringing in skills. So this is one interpretation of what AI think about a koala riding a motorcycle would look like. This is one idea, right? And then when we look at this picture, right, we can see the texture on the koala bear. It's trying to mimic that. It's a flesh doll. And you can see the background. There's depth of field. So there's definitely some photography skills going on in this picture. And then the motorcycle, the overall scene together, it's a 3D rendering. That's probably better than I will ever do, unless I invest the time in learning these skills. And lastly, you can have all the options in the world about a koala bear riding motorcycles. You can have unlimited options if your time allows, but I highly advise you to not spend that much time in looking at koala bear riding a motorcycle. But every image being generated is going to be a little different. After you get to 1 million, there might be 1 or 2 that looks kind of close, but I guarantee you that those 2 are still going to be different. So this is what I meant by AI collaborator, bringing something different to the table than an AI assistant. So earlier in my outline, I talked about, hey, so how does it apply to beginners or being applied to someone who has more experience? How would they utilize a technology like this? So bear with me here. How many people here likes Harry Potter? Yes, okay. Oh, I'm so glad we can be honest. I love you guys. You guys are honest. We're friends now. I vowed to read all the books before I watch the movies because I feel like the books you can imagine much more, and if I watch the movie, it would just ruin it. But anyway, what I'm trying to get to is that I'm fascinated by the architecture in Harry Potter. You guys all know about the Hogwarts School of Wizardry, right? It's amazing. Would any of you want to go to that school? I know I do. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's magical. And I thought, hey, I want to visualize what else can it look like, because I have this vow to not watch the movie. So I come up with this prompt. As you can see that it's quite detailed, because this is how you give instruction to AI to start visualizing what you have in mind. Again, AI cannot, even people can't read any of our mind, right? So neither would AI be able to. So when you try to use this system, try to write it as descriptive as possible so that it could get closer to the result that you're looking for. you can see that in here, I actually wrote, hey, photoreal 4K octane render. These are very specific styles that I'm looking for. There's tons of resources online that teaches you how to write these prompts. They're becoming recipes, and there's actually a marketplace for these prompts now. This is how fast it's developing. So again, as a beginner, I got ideas, but I got no skills. So, previously, I would have never been able to visualize some of these ideas. And this is what AI came up with. I think they're fascinating. They're like, this blows my mind. It's beyond what I'm imagining. You could see that it's visualizing the exterior. It's still the interpretation of the prompt that I have given it. It tried to do an interior shots. On the second one, you can vaguely see that maybe it's trying to make a plate of food. Don't really know what that means. And these are just to set expectation here. AI is not perfect. It's trying hard to generate what a dining hall. I think that's what it interprets as that sort of plate of. It could be a plate of very nice vegetarian food, and then a different interpretation of the dining hall as well. So a way to think about working with AI is think about as if now you're working with with a team of some of the most talented and creative people you have now, but they're in your pockets, and they're ready at any time when you wanted to. This actually lives up on Discord. It's an application called Midjourney. I have some resources later on in the deck to share with you. But it's the same as working with a creative team. You tell the AI system, hey, I actually like the picture on the far left. Can I see more variations of it? And you can do so for every picture here, but just for the sake of the example here, this is what the AI comes up with for the next iteration. It's like, okay, cool, you told me you like the first one. I'm gonna do my interpretation of it, remember ideas, and then it also brings in skills of rendering these scenes and come up with options for all of us. So as a beginner, it is tremendously a confident boost because never have we ever in our life that we can turn an idea into something tangible within a minute, right? I can scribble, but that's gonna take forever and then I would just give up. Never have we ever can we turn an idea and visualizing it. That blows my mind. And over time, if you try these computer systems, you're gonna actually start doing your own thing because you realize how powerful it is, and you're gonna try out different prompts. Maybe you're into architecture, maybe you're into fashion design, robotics. There's all these different ways to create the image that you desired. So going back to how can AI help creators of all levels? I have a spelling mistakes. I shouldn't call myself out. Okay. So for beginning creator, just getting started, a lot of the time going back to my earlier point, there's so much expectation out there that, oh, I have an idea, but it's this really grand project. Oh man, that means I'm gonna have to invest like 25 hours and I have to get all these supply. We ended up not doing it at all. So in a way, AI is really good at helping us to just get started, just to start visualizing these ideas. And you also start gaining initial skills. Maybe it's different than, hey, I'm picking up a paintbrush. It is gonna be new types of skills that you'll pick up. And lastly, I was very excited to actually just want to share this with my friends who are into Harry Potter. Like, am I over time? Yeah. And then secondly, you might be curious, hey, I'm a pro. So how is this going to help me? Because I know 3D rendering, I know all these different skills. Well, in a way, AI is going to help you remove doing some of these tedious tasks. And as pro-creators, you often want to one-up your game, right? I'm always innovating in my creativity. So even if AI is giving you an image, I think it's actually going to motivate you to push it toward the next level. And let's talk about how that is happening for some of the creators out there. So people are using it in very different way right now, and Twitter is actually your best friend. There's so much resources. That tends to be the place where people post things, by the way. So on the left side, there's actually someone was just curious. I want to know what kind of shoe would look like if it's merged with crap, because why not? So we're starting to see these new ideas, things that we have never done before. And then on the middle one, and also on the right one, is creators taking these generated image and remixing it with different skills, whether they're with other AI skills, but they're also remixing it with their existing skills. Maybe it's video editing or I actually don't know how they usually write it out, so it's actually a great way to learn about how people are building these creations. And you might wonder, okay, that's great, Harry Potter pictures, how does that actually apply to my work? I think it's actually pretty relevant, and I actually used it a few times at work in time in need. I still think about it as having a creative team in my pockets. A lot of us here are storytellers, right? We got to convince our stakeholder about certain vision. We might need to communicate to participants who are in our research, and we might want them to understand something. I think this is a great tool to get some resources going and get these images over. The picture you're seeing here is done by Jason Forrest. He is the director of data visualization at McKinsey & Company. And I think at one point he needed to visualize the supply chain issues that we were having. And he got curious, and he looked into using these AI generative tool to see what it could come up with. And he ended up coming up with a whole series of these artwork. And there's 3 examples listed here. On the far left, this is a person who is actually going to a conference presenting in Russia. And this person was looking for images that is related to a specific ethnicity. And this person weren't able to find any resources. So they turned to AI generation, and it actually created these magnificent illustration that is relevant to that ethnicity. And then second one is someone who is trying to look for help on doing logos, but ended up getting just a bunch of bots responding. So again, they turned to AI and asked, hey, can you show me some options so that I can just get me started so I can make my own, and so on. The last one is someone making marketing material. We also see this evolving very quickly in the ad space as well. That's also probably coming up as we speak or happening very soon. So the examples that I've been showing have been mostly image related, and creativity is so wide, right? Some of you might be into music production, some of you might be into making videos or podcasts, some of you might be into writing. These are all different creative expression formats, and there is AI help for that. I try to list them out here, and if you want to read up more or learn more, Twitter and also Discord is a really good friend to have, and just find your community there. There is one thing that I highlight about the mindset section here. I think this is something that no one talked about, before you start using these things is that AI is likely not gonna generate the perfect thing for you right away. So have patience and have curiosity. Guide the AI toward what you're looking for, just as if you're working with a team of creatives, providing creative directions. And then usage consideration. I think this goes into two ways. One is carbon footprint, because these model actually takes tremendous amount of power to be trained, but a lot of people benefit from it. So what I'm saying is just don't generate for the sake of generating. And then on the other side is it could get addictive because, again, never have we ever been able to visualize ideas right away, right? And there might be a lot of ideas that has been, had. After a while, put down the phone, the team will still be there on your phone. So that's something that I want to know about. And then lastly, bias awareness. There's different products available on the market right now, and they do well on different domains. Some of them might be better at landscape, some of them might be better at portrait. But people will use it for harm. It's the nature of things, unfortunately. I think these companies are trying their best to put measures so that deepfakes is going to happen. They're trying to put measure on stopping the limits to how realistic these things will go. But this is also trying to learn about this tool is a way for us to train our perception. Can we tell if something is fake or real? And lastly, I want to share this clip with you. This is a movie called AlphaGo. It's actually from 2017, so 6 years ago. It's a documentary on AlphaGo, which is a computer program playing against world's top Go player. Go is a board game. And it was profoundly inspiring for the chess player at that time after they played with the program. And I'm going to share, let's see if it plays.
There are so many possible application domains where creativity in a different dimension to what humans could do could be immensely valuable to us. And I'd just love to have more of those moments where we look back and say, yeah, that was just like Move 37. Something beautiful occurred there.
At least in a broad sense, Move 37 begat Move 78, begat a new attitude at Lee Sito, a new way of seeing the game. He improved through this machine. His humanness was expanded after playing this inanimate creation. And the hope is that that machine, and in particular the technologies behind it, can have the same effect with all of us.
And so this movie came out in 2017. And at that time, I remember I was tremendously jealous because I don't play Go, but I knew that the chess player community saw that there's this brand new way of playing these games. Things that, because a lot of time we just learn from patterns, right? What is existing. But suddenly, the machine is showing us way that is beyond our comprehension. And I think that is seeding new level, new possibilities and creativity. And 6 years later, we now have the tools for creative people to experience what this could be like. So I really want to encourage you to even just give these tools a try. And I hope that everyone will get to live a very creative life on your own term. So thank you. Oh yeah.